Here we come. First time I'm actually going to video going all the way around the track work for the main level and back around through staging. So we've got our GP7 coming into Dover, where the one part of the layout is that has any actual scenicking done on it. I haven't weathered much of the track yet, so the track that it's on is still pretty pristine, but here we go through the Dover Yard. We go past the turntable. We finally have some vehicles in place in the parking lot. Got a switcher sticking out of the roundhouse. And now we're going to leave Dover, leave the one scenic part of the railroad. Got to get up here. This is a fairly low set of bench work because there's going to be another set above it. And we're coming around the end here. Our one section of triple track coming out of Dover. This will be our transition area where we use the divider to transition into the midsection of New Hampshire and up into the Madison, New Hampshire area. As we come along here, we'll be hitting the section where we will have our small station and siding in Madison, New Hampshire. And we're getting to the end of our scenic divider. And just north of Madison, there's going to be swampland up here, some various geological structures, probably a beaver dam in the swamp. That'll create another scenic break. The track you see behind it will be hidden. That's the track coming up from hidden staging that will come back around towards the end. So now we're coming up into what will be Conway, New Hampshire. And get past the scenic break, start to get into a little bit of industry. There'll be a couple of little sidings here. And then we start to come into our Conway Yard. Of course, we won't be able to see the tracks that come up from staging at that point, although there will be a removable section there. But we'll be coming along. About in the section here, we'll start to get close to where the North Conway Station is, those that are familiar with it in North Conway. Sorry about the light on this video here. I have not installed permanent lights because I'm going to be using LEDs that will be under the upper level to light the lower level. But we continue to proceed now out of North Conway and have a little bit of a switching area again and another scenic break using some techniques that'll then bring us into Bartlett, New Hampshire. And Bartlett's kind of a double area. So in this first area, right where our GP7 is passing now, is where the Bartlett station is. That'll be there, and a little bit of the town. We'll have roads with a number of buildings here. We've got a Y in the back here that's for churning the train. The real Y in Bartlett would come towards where I'm taking these pictures from, but in terms of the Bartlett area and the bench work, I really had to reverse that, so that's a little bit of a change from the prototype. We come around the curve right there in the video, but as we came around that curve, which would be straight track, we're coming into the portion of Bartlett where the old roundhouse is, where we will have that old roundhouse. This is going to be in the mid-1960s, so at that point the roundhouse was kind of falling apart. There's only one track that even still went into it. Haven't built that track work yet, but the rest is all here. The sidings were there. So we'll be proceeding past, and about at this point is where we would be passing the roundhouse right next to the track. From here we're going to leave the main level and go back down around through staging via the helix. There you'll notice there was also a switch here. That switch, that turnout right at the end here, is actually going to go up to the second level as we continue to build our helix. But for now, our one route around is to come back down the helix, come through the staging. So we'll just give it a little time. I'm going to stop the video here for a minute because it takes a little time to go through the helix and I don't want to run the train excessively fast for the video. Okay, so we are back
The GP7 is almost to the bottom of the helix. You'll see underneath here we've got just a single strip of LED lights right now lighting the staging. I'll probably add another strip to the front because as you can see, as we come into the staging, it's not as easy to make out some of the cars that are in the closer portion of the staging as it is to make out the ones in the back. Unfortunately, my camera here is doing a little bit of bloom from those LEDs, but anyway, our GP7 makes its way through the staging. Right now I've probably got about 45 cars in the staging. It'll, at this point, I think it could probably hold about 75, which for this size railroad is going to be plenty of staging. I do not anticipate having, you know, multiple hundreds of cars, although between the staging and other areas on the layout itself, I may have 100 cars on this layout. So we're starting to make our way out of the actual staging tracks area. And we'll see, we'll come around this curve, and then we're just basically going to go up a 2.5% grade along the wall to make our way back up to the Conway area, the Dover area where we started. So I think I'm probably going to just stop the video here for a moment and pick it up when it comes to a visible area.
Alright, so we've made about halfway up the incline, the 2.5% grade to come back to Dover. You'll see it's double track down there. Make it possible to do some passing even on the way out if I need to. Little bit of problem with the one of the tracks. You notice it's got all these curves in it where apparently I must have had it too tight together, and expansion caused nice little S curves in there. Have to be reducing the length of the track just enough to get it straight again. But now we're coming up. Also, these turnouts that are down there, these will be among the only turnouts that will be electrically controlled on the layout, obviously, because these are going to be hidden and harder to get at. We want to make sure that we don't have to do any manual turnout control there. Now we're finally coming up around the final curve, and I'm just going to make my way back out around the layout to the Dover side, and we'll see our train starting to come in.